And we're going to start off, with guns a-blazing with WandaVision, episode 7. Now, we've been big fans of the show so far. Just to give a quick recap, I believe we're shooting this episode of WandaVision in the 2000s, and I believe they're using the This Is Us template.
What is it? Modern Family.
Modern Family. Okay, there you
go. And The Office.
Yeah, that kind of one.
See, I've never watched Modern Family or This Is Us, so I was kind of just feeling in the dark and saying it seems like something where people talking to the camera. I don't know, but yeah, they do have the self narration and the fourth wall breaking where they're talking to the camera. And what it seems like is Wanda is undergoing some existential crisis where she's talking her way through what's going on. Vision has left. She's kind of open to that idea now, and she's just dealing with it. Nothing really matters. It's very, morose. And now, but there's some extra scenes that are going on with Agent Wu and what's her name?
Monica Rambeau.
Well, there's Rambo, but who's the scientist that got Darcy, who actually got enveloped in Wanda's bubble. So there's a lot of things going on, and there's a nice little reveal at the end, but we can get to that as we go forward. So I would like to start with Brianna. What were your thoughts of this episode?
So I like this episode as usual. I'm always confused, but I liked a lot of the humor in this one. Starting with the controllers, again, it's like they're setting up that stuff is happening. Wanda can't control it. Everything is kind of shape shifting. So the boys had a GameCube controller and it changed to cards and stuff like that. That was really funny. And another thing I noticed that keeps happening is Wanda's comment on that kind of stuff was oh, it's just a bad case of the Mondays. It's they use those quips of very traditional things from those types of shows, but it's funny, but also it's not funny. It's the world is crumbling literally around her and it's completely out of control. So it's just kind of crazy, but I always thought that was a nice touch. That's not the first time they've done it. But yeah, the episode was really, it went by really fast. By the time it got to the end of the episode, I was ready for it to keep going. When they did the whole Agnes reveal, I was just not ready for the end credits. It was it was just there. And I was oh my gosh, the episode's over. So it went really fast. But yeah, other than that, the commercial, for the Nexus thing for the antidepressants just kind of all goes back into that just chaos, sadness, everything that's happening. And I also really there was one sweet moment where Darcy was talking to Vision in the van and she's I don't really understand why you can't leave, but it's obvious that you and Wanda have a real love story. So I like that part of it. It's just another way to kind of remind everyone yes, they're apart, but at the heart of this, I think it is kind of a love story, at least a piece of that. So True. Interesting episode.
Yeah. Two things to that. One, I did like the glitching and it was essentially her losing control over everything as she was kind of just maybe overextending her powers, or it was just falling apart. It just, maybe it was running its course because we are getting closer and closer to today. And I think that's making the point more and more so. And secondly, I have to concede, my theory on that WandaVision was based all in her head. It looks like there was somebody at the helm. And I believe, Kenny, you were the one that really brought that up mostly. And let's talk about let's talk about the Agnes being the one who did it all the time and killed the poor dog. What is that? What is I knew this was dark. And
called it.
Kenny, you called it. You called
you did.
I give you many props, sir. So that being said, please, give your thoughts on the episode.
So I'll start by saying I feel vindicated Because I was going all in on my theory that someone else was at the helm and manipulating her, and so to see it kind of open up to that and reveal Agnes was really cool. But I actually, and to talk about Agnes for a second, I actually really loved the little like song they did. Like it was Agnes all along.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at the subreddit today on like WandaVision. It was like a episode 7 discussion thread, and there were several people that had mentioned that particular song is actually like climbing the charts on like Apple Music and something that so many people are listening to it. And I thought that was hilarious, but awesome. That it was so catchy. A lot of people really liked it, and
her evil laugh too. That was amazing.
Yeah. And then like I'm not like as I was watching the show, and then when she did her reveal at the end, like I killed Sparky too. Like I had an immediate John Wick moment. Like where's John Wick when you need him?
If you go on our Instagram, you will see a meme to that effect.
Yes, but no, I really really enjoyed this episode, and I agree with many of the Redditors that have discussed this, that the real villain of this show is the please stand by. At the end of the episode, that's the real villain. Because they just leave it at these spots. You just want more. So I give them a lot of credit for creating a show that keeps you wanting more, and you want to see what's going on. You want to see what's happening. You feel vested in it, invested in the show. But I know a lot of people have been used to turning the show off whenever the credits start rolling, and this episode they finally had a mid-credit scene that showed Monica Rambeau venturing to Agnes's house, and
Pietro,
and Pietro shows up like Snooper's gonna snoop, and then please stand by. So it still makes me wonder who he really is. Like, is he a citizen from Westview that she's just, changed to look like Pietro, or is he Pietro from the multiverse, and she's manipulating him, and maybe somehow like over the next couple episodes he's going to wake up and be free of her control. I think that's, I'm hoping that he's not like a one-off. Like, I really hope that he's not just a throwaway character on this show, and that there are larger plans for him.
Now, does anybody here know what her character's name is in the comic series? Because I think
Agatha Harkness, right?
Agatha Harkness.
Agatha Harkness, yeah.
Is that her villain name? She doesn't have like a.
No, that's yeah. I think she's just known as Agatha Harkness because she's a witch from like the older times. She lived through the Salem witch hunt, and she's just been around for a very long time.
So what did it mean when one of the boys was like, I can't hear you, or like said that she like wasn't really there. Yeah, you're very quiet on the inside. Yeah, I thought she was like Vision. I was like, is she like a bionic person? Is she not really real?
Well, and that was also before she came out. I thought it was basically because that she was suppressed. But you're right. I mean, it makes
maybe she just can control it. And one of
the theories I heard on that is that maybe the reason the twin thinks that she's quiet on the inside is the other residents of Westview are battling internally. Like, they are constantly trying to get free, and they have a lot going on internally that we don't see. But I imagine that he can hear that, but when he listens to her, it's just her. So there's not a lot of turmoil and nothing being suppressed, so to speak.
That would make sense. Yeah. Okay.
So
there you go.
But I am interested to see what happened to the twins, because there was no real as far as I call it, there was no hint at where they might be or what
there was a symbol on that book or whatever that was, but I don't know Marvel very
I actually
well,
think the book that they showed, I think that might be a tie to the Doctor Strange universe. If you go like going back to Doctor Strange, that ancient library that they have, I think that might be a book that she has taken from their that library.
If they bring back what's his name, the who was Chitway
Caecilius?
Is that no. Chitway, the guy who was
Mordo.
Yeah. If they bring him back, that'd be pretty wild. But Logan.
I mean, he's supposed to be back for Doctor Strange too, but I don't know that he has anything direct involvement with this.
But isn't his whole thing is he's trying to kill witches? So
his whole thing, at least to my understanding, as it was left at the end of Doctor Strange, was just people who shouldn't have magic. I think it's hard to argue that a witch from the Salem witch trial shouldn't have magic. So
the Puritans thought otherwise, but
yes, well,
wanted to get your thoughts on it as well, Logan. What were your takeaways?
It was a great episode. I think it was fun. That kind of mockumentary, fourth wall breaking, that we finally reached that stage in TV history, if you will. I think it lends itself well as a lead out into no longer doing it as like, what style of TV a week is it? So going from that kind of fourth wall mockumentary to just dealing with everything in the last two episodes. It's a nice way to lead it. I think all the main points aside, there were at least two other things that I really was interested in. And kind of how this entire series, as much as it's all WandaVision, obviously, it's really Monica Rambeau's origin story. It's not just about those main characters. It's all about what she went through and what she had to do and how she gets her superpowers. I mean, if you're going through the comics, she's had a number of different iterations and superhero names. She, takes over the Captain Marvel mantle for a little while. It seems like they're moving her more towards the what do they call her? Spectrum, I think, as far as kind of the superhero name that she had in one of the runs of the comics. Was it Spectrum?
Yeah, or was it Spectrum? I think went in Photon in the other one, or
her
powers were Photon powers or something like that.
Right. And
but I think Spectrum is probably the bigger known character name.
Yeah, and I think that one works with the way she's able to see the different things that she can see and what she's able to do with those powers. So this is really, yes, the show's title is WandaVision, but here's Monica Rambeau's origin story that now doesn't need to be told over the course of a feature-length film. So how can they take her character and really bring her mostly fully formed into a top-tier, MCU movie? It'll be interesting to see how they do that and if that works just from a world building perspective. So I'm really, really enjoying that and attached to her as a character and liking where they're taking that. And then the other thing that just I caught, and then I had to go back and watch it again because I didn't know if I caught it, but there was less than a second at the end where you actually saw a shot of Dottie. So if you remember from episode 2, she was Emma Caulfield. The actress there. She was the one who kind of ran the whole talent show.
Yes.
In it. And it was very quick, blink and you miss it. But just that look was a very intentional, knowing look. Like it was enough to just make me kind of stop and go, she's not surprised by what she's seeing. Why is she not surprised? Who is she really? What's going on here? Like, one of those typical Marvel blink and you miss it might be the crux of everything, might just be Kevin Feige laughing at me. I don't really know. Either way, I'm cool with it. But that was just one of those moments that, she's, I remember reading, that she had to be okayed for that role by Kevin Feige himself. So is there something more to it? Why that? I mean, she's, she was in the title card and in the show when she's not just, a background extra who's just looking on. She's a named actress. So why throw her in that? I don't know. I'd like to make a molehill out of a mountain.
Well, I mean,
here.
you're not wrong, because there was a setup for a conflict between her and Wanda, and then she just vanished from the whole.
I forgot about it because it's been so long since we've seen her.
Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of a storytelling rule that if you introduce somebody and then they disappear for the second act, they're coming back in the third act?
That seems to be very much like it, because she skipped a whole second and this would be the third, and how it goes. So who is she really? What does she have to play? Those are the kind of little, gnaw inside of you mysteries that I enjoy.
There's so many possibilities. And obviously, that's what I love about this show, is that we just can, pontificate and say, well, what if it's this? Well, what if it's that? And I'm still holding hopes for Doctor Strange showing up and, maybe taking the book back. Maybe that's it. Maybe he shows up to, set Agnes straight and say, you're not authorized for this. Who knows? I'm very excited.
I would not be surprised to see him in the final episode.
What about Loki? Is that a possibility? Or or because he has his own show that they're not even going to try and make the two touch?
Well, that version Loki's
Dead?
He's dead. Yeah. See, that version of Loki that would know any of them probably are mostly dead. The Loki that's running around is an out of time placed one from just after the end of Avengers.
Yep.
So that Loki shouldn't know anything about all of that. He's busy doing other stuff, understanding what the hell has gone on and figuring out where his character arc goes from there. So no, I don't think Loki. I think Doctor Strange in the final could be a, kind of like Nick Fury in the last episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1. Kind of came in with Coulson and that was fun. Ended up not being in that reality and that canon and whatever, but interesting nonetheless.
In the immortal words of Deadpool, all these timelines confuse me. So anyway, looking forward to episodes 8 and 9. I'm sure they're just going to keep wowing us in ways we couldn't even imagine.